Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first podcast for our Hack and Slash channel. We are going to call it Chit and Chat with Hack and Slash. How you doing today, Alberto?
Doing well. How are you, Michael?
I can't complain, except for waiting for long coffee, but, you know.
Yeah, when you texted me about that, kind of sucked, man. 20 minutes, you said?
Yeah, about 20 minutes in drive-thru, waiting for coffee.
Man, I'm so sorry to hear that, dude. That's, kind of sucks.
Yeah. Anyways, this podcast is going to be for our channel. It's generally going to be about horror movies, genre films, any updates we have with our channel. We're not going to give away too many secrets of what we're doing, but just kind of telling you what we're editing, what's going to come out soon, and pretty much any other bullshit we could think of. Each of us have our own specific type of horror film or slasher film that we relate to the most. Alberto here is a big Nightmare on Elm Street buff.
Hello.
As big as I could ever see.
Yeah, man, like, I never really got into the horror genre until I was a kid, and I stumbled upon Nightmare when Spec TV was doing their, we're gonna be airing a few horror movies late at night shtick, so I'm like, well, it's a school night, and I know I can get in trouble for staying up and even watching a horror movie. You know, Catholic family, very strict mother and all that jazz. But I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to watch this movie. And luckily that night it was a Nightmare on Elm Street, the original one from the 80s. So I'm like, you know what? All right, let's do it. It scared the hell out of me. It was, you know, the big scene with Johnny Depp going into the bed and the blood comes out. Yeah, I can sit through that one. That was
probably the most disturbing sequence of the whole movie. Mm-hmm. Minus the first kill where the lady is getting dragged across the ceiling and getting chopped up, essentially.
Surprisingly, that didn't really bother me. I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah, it's not so terrible, but at this point, we're kind of immune to shock value, things like that, at least for older slasher films. For me, it's all about Friday the 13th. I like Halloween movies. I like certain Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, but Friday the 13th has been a very big thing for me. Mm-hmm. You know, anything to do with Jason, I'm all about. The first time I've seen a Friday the 13th movie was Halloween many, many years ago. The first one I actually saw was like the last 20 minutes of part 7. The first full one I saw, it was part 3, which is the one you should see because that's the one he gets his infamous hockey mask. Movie in itself, it kept to its specifics extremely well with the stereotypes.
Right.
A little too well, but it's a genre of slasher film.
It was the 80s.
Yeah, it's the 80s. What could you ask more for that? But, yeah, Friday the 13th is my thing. I'm a little different than Alberto's when it comes to him getting raised on horror film. He came from a very strict family. They, you know... You can't watch this stuff, you know, it's very...
Well, it wasn't like, just the horror aspect of it, it was just like the, age appropriation thing of it, like my mom didn't want us to watch, like...
Well, it's to each parent's opinions.
Uh-huh.
My parents are a little different. To them, it's, if you can handle it, you could watch it. Mm-hmm. You know, you're not going to do anything crazy or stupid, but... You know, if it's too scary for you, you're going to get nightmares.
That's
you're not
on you,
allowed.
you know?
Yeah, it's on you. You're not allowed to watch it. For example, for 13 Ghosts, the remake version, where it has, you know, the Jackal, Juggernaut, and all those.
Is that what Monk in it?
Yeah, it's got the actor who played Monk in there. Right. And that movie gave my brother nightmares.
Really?
Yeah, it did. When we were watched that long, long time ago, when we were young, it gave him nightmares. To me, it didn't. So it just kind of... It already strayed me to the path of where I was going to take. But for Friday the 13th movies, never had a nightmare. I always had a fascination with the movies. Interested in the special makeup effects. Very interested in the character of Jason. You know, some people think it's just a mindless walking zombie. I don't think he is mindless, but... He's not... He's that nice, quiet... type of character. He's like, if you notice, in every Friday the 13th movie, before Jason comes out and starts doing the killing, there's always a storm.
Yeah,
there's always a storm in the movie.
A big old cliche.
Yeah, he is basically like a force of nature when he's coming in, and starts killing a bunch of people throughout the movies. I could even say the storm in... I can't remember much of Part 2. I haven't seen that one in a long while for some reason. Part 3, towards the end, where all that big wind storm comes through. Part 4, the storm is basically the half of the movie towards the end. The second half of the movie towards the end. And going off to the 6th movie, it was the very beginning. 7th movie, it was halfway again. I think they had a few storms in that one. Mm-hmm. Part 8, you had the big storm in the water, in the boat. Causes the ship to sink and shit. That, Jason throwing someone into mechanics causing explosions. That'll do it too. But Part 9, I don't really think there was one, but then again, I only count the beginning of the movie and the end of the movie as the movie, because everything else, there's no Jason. He's not there.
Sure. Well, he's there, but he's not there.
Part 10 doesn't really count. It's in space.
Jason in space?
Yep. Yeah. Freddy versus Jason, once again, the movie starts in a storm after the whole monologue sequence. Mm-hmm. You go to Elm Street, it's raining, it's storming. Jason does his first official kill, and they're not the dream sequence kill. That, as awesome as it was, it doesn't count. But the killing of stabbing the asshole in the bed dozens of times and then crunching the bed on him.
We'll get to this later, but that goes on my list of one of the most favorite kills I've had for Jason.
It is one of the most creative ones. Yeah. But we'll get into that one later.
But what about the remake? Did it open up with a storm? Because I can't remember watching the remake.
I don't think it opened up with a storm, but it ended with a storm. Yeah, it ended with a storm. It didn't open up with one. It was nighttime, though.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so as you can hear me talk, Friday the 13th is my big old thing. I spent a lot of time watching this stuff and just learning more about the history of the movies, the people who made them. Mm-hmm. There's that DVD that came out before the 2009, I believe, remake.
Yeah, they were celebrating the
35 years of Friday the 13th, I believe it's what it was. So that one, it's got a lot of history in that DVD. It's got a bunch of actors, directors, everyone who played Jason at the time, including Richard Brooker, who played him in Part 3, he passed away not that long ago. The first one gone.
Sucks.
Yeah. Pray that Robert Englund doesn't go, because Jason's got a few different actors to kind of remember off of. Robert Englund, he's kind of pretty much the main one, minus Jackie Earle Haley, who played him in the remake.
And for me, I liked Jackie's performance. I thought it was different. It was new.
Yeah, it was new. I thought the movie could have done, I wouldn't say done much better, but the shock value of the story. If you haven't seen the movie, little difference when it comes to the way Freddy's done. The makeup's different. He's a little bit more serious in the way he says things, does things. In that one, he doesn't start off as a child killer, but basically the plot builds up that he's a pedophile. And, he escapes when the parents try to get him, and eventually they chase him down into a factory of some kind and then burn that to the ground.
Yeah.
In the movie, it kind of goes back and forth whether, he could be a pedophile. What happens if he's not? In the end, they chose the wrong choice by actually making him a pedophile. I thought it would have been so much better if it was he didn't do anything wrong. It would have made his vengeful spirit so much more important and impactful.
But I can kind of see why they didn't, because it kind of humanizes him more, and you're not really supposed to relate to him because he's supposed to be a fucking asshole.
Yeah, but the difference between this movie compared to the other ones is this one, he's a pedophile. The other one, he kills children. Mm-hmm. And according to the other parts of the story, he's also a pedophile. Yeah. I don't think there's anything strictly concrete with that, minus some of the things he says and his, my children.
He drops some hints that he did other things to kids besides killing them.
I think that the comic book series say he did.
Yeah.
But I don't think Wes Craven actually officially said he is officially a pedophile. I think to him it was strictly about at least for the first couple of movies, it was about him being a child killer, because the idea of him, whether he's a killer or a pedophile, flipped back and forth for the basically the creation of Freddy in the first movie. In the end, they chose killer, but doesn't necessarily mean he wasn't a pedophile. Which is kind of weird that Alberto likes him, but, to each his own.
Not pedophile. I did play a rabbi in a play, though, so maybe a little different.
Just wrong.
A Catholic rabbi.
Yeah, Alberto. We were in a show in high school, Fiddler on the Roof, and Alberto here, there's a part where they go in the dream sequence with...
Go figure.
Yeah, where they go, a blessing on your head, and Alberto's character, the rabbi, goes mazel tov, mazel tov. But he does the sign of the cross. Now, he did that in rehearsal. No one said anything. He did that in performance. No one said anything. It wasn't until, I think, months later that I pointed out to him. Even my dad knew, and...
I'm too used to doing that. I haven't been to church in years, but when I went to church, I did that, and... it just kind of stuck with me, and no one ever told me that, like, hey, you're not supposed to be doing that.
I knew. I just let you do it. Because I'm just horrible like that.
You do these things, and you tell me months later, and I'm like, oh, fuck.
Anyways, back to the conversation at hand.
I want to go back to what you were talking about just how some disturbing images makes a few people a little weird. And it kind of stays with them because... like what I said, my mom would kind of regulate what we watched, but it's kind of surprising because when she was 7, she watched the original Exorcist.
Oh, yeah.
And that one, she is still very scared of that movie. She will never watch
anyone
that movie
who's
again.
Anyone who's a hardcore Catholic, especially at that time, that movie not only scared them, but disturbed them. Because to them, demons are real, Mm-hmm. These people, if you ever see like Ghost Adventures and you see this Catholic priest and stuff, he's taking all this shit very seriously. Mm-hmm. Exorcist is probably one of the greatest examples of a horror film that is timeless, and it will always scare someone because the whole subject matter of it. And plus, Linda Blair, who plays the little girl, does a fabulous, wonderful job playing both an innocent girl. They did such a good job setting up, there's a sequence where she's talking to her mother about getting a pony for her birthday, I think, it's very sweet, tender moment, and then you just watch her get torn apart by this force of nature, and she performed very well doing that.
I have not seen the full movie yet. I have seen bits and pieces of it.
I am very disappointed in you.
I really do want to see the movie. I know my mom will never, ever watch it again in her house. She says, if you want to watch it in your house on your time, but I never, ever want to see that movie again. Yep. It still stays with her, and she she just can't do horror movies as much as she used to, because I'm kind of surprised. She was a big horror movie fan.
And then she wouldn't let you watch any of them.
Yeah. I think I kind of see the same way. Like, she didn't want me to be... a subject to anything that can probably traumatize me, because that movie traumatized a few people. It was the 70s people.
She didn't want movies to traumatize you as a kid. She wanted to do that herself.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm already traumatized myself, and I've seen a lot of good movies, on a lot of Friday 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. That was a trip.
Yeah, it's people forget how long of a movie that is, because it was technically filmed as a miniseries. Mm-hmm. They did Stephen King's It. They did a Shining version, not the Jack Nicholson, but the Steven Weber version. It's not as scary and impactful and culturally, important as the Jack Nicholson version. But this one follows very true to the storyline of the book series.
It has its moments.
Because Stephen King was on there. He was in there. He had his own cameo in there. He does a lot of cameos for his TV movie things, and it's very. I think it's better that they do these miniseries to try to do for the movies, because it's very hard to fill all of Stephen King's novel into one movie and try to get everything right.
Misery was pretty good.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad.
Disturbing.
It was very disturbing. It makes me never want to be a famous writer.
Oh, man. Just getting one of those obsessive fans, just tying you up to a bed, breaking your kneecaps, making you write a new book.
I thought of a funny skit idea when it comes to like this. Someone loves this great fan fiction writer, and they basically it follows the movie, but it's fan fiction based off of something else, like a different movie or a different book, and they're obsessed with that specific fan fiction, not the movie, not the book, not anyone else's, but theirs. Shit. But the skit will just follow that along. I just thought that'd be very funny.
You sure write a fan fiction about that?
Oh no, that's just asking for something to happen. I'd rather not.
Okay.
Anyway, another good example of Stephen King's TV miniseries, I think one of his best ones. Everyone remembers it, but Rose Red was friggin' terrifying the first time I saw it. Although, when I first saw it, I was extremely young, at my grandparents' cabin, in the dark, in the woods.
I think I've only seen half of that movie. I think because we only had half of the movie.
I'll lend you the DVD.
Thank you. That'd be great, man. But, yeah, Rose Red was... If you can handle pretty much, like, a lot of disturbing movies, like I said, like we said, It, Exorcist, and you can...
Others is a good example because it's in the big house like that, too. Mm-hmm. Basically, Rose Red, kind of, I wouldn't say it follows strictly, but it's... Stephen King based the house on Rose Red off of the Winchester Mansion in the sense that basically the house is powered by spirits, and the previous owner house basically does what the spirits tell her to do and keep building until she dies. Eventually she becomes a spirit, but not like, nice little Winchester Mansion where it's, it's a fun, kooky house. There's a couple of ghosts here and there. They don't seem that harmful because, the house is huge. The lady did what she was told. Rose Red, those ghosts are vicious, and when you get in the house, they want you to join them. Yeah. And usually in a very terrible manner.
So remember when in our high school we had the Sunrise Mountain Library when it was connected to it?
Yeah.
They were doing like a kind of like a giveaway. They were just giving away some of their DVDs, and there's a last copy of Rose Red, and I wanted it, but they wouldn't sell it to me. But I was able to rent it.
Was this before they transferred everything?
Yeah, it was right before, so that's why they were doing that. I rented Rose Red and Dreamcatcher, and I ended up watching Dreamcatcher the most out of it, and I thought it was a really good movie. A little weird. I mean, it had everything from like aliens to disease, and I was like, oh, he's Morgan Freeman. There it is, Morgan Freeman. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And I've never seen the movie before.
But yeah, this podcast is going to generally be about horror movies. We're just going to talk to each other about different things. Like we'll talk about our top favorite, let's say Halloween movies, Friday the 13th movies, Nightmare. We'll give a list of what we think is the ultimate Halloween movie list for the season of Halloween, like different, going off of, such a broad range from The Conjuring to Hocus Pocus, Halloween to Halloween Town. It's not going to be strictly horror films. It's going to be movies for the season, but that's for another time.
Never seen Conjuring.
Really?
Yeah.
They came out with the second one.
Yeah, I seen that.
You saw the Insidious movies, right?
I saw Insidious Part 1. They keep selling those movies on my work for dirt cheap now. But I'm like, never really.
It's been on Amazon, too.
Yeah, we have Amazon Prime.
Yeah, but to be fair, you were once a student, and when they came out, you were still a student.
Well, I renewed it.
To be fair, this whole podcast is going to be random. We're going to range from talking about Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th movies, to MXC, Most Extreme Elimination Challenges. That was once the most epic show on Spike TV.
Well, let's go!
Exactly. And, this podcast is pretty much all about that. The span of it will kind of depend on what we're talking about. Like this one might be a little longer just because it's an introduction to what we like, who we are.
And why the hell we're doing this on YouTube.
Yeah, and some of them might be shorter because we're just doing like a top favorites list of our favorite genre films or something like that. But yeah, that's going to be it's going to be a very interesting thing that we're going to be doing.
It's like it's not purely going to be, like you said, nothing just horror films.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really good Halloween movies, and for Halloween in general, I think it's not getting its mainstream notoriety as it used to. It's like you always see Christmas stuff in that's September, and that kind of pisses me off. I'm like,
that's the interesting thing. Stores push for Christmas stuff to come out faster, and the Halloween sections for, like, let's say Target, which is, to me, it's just sad what their Halloween section is, at least the one in Tucson I saw.
It fucking irritates me when they just have Christmas trees, Christmas lights, and that's just anywhere they just have all their decorations out. And I'm like, it's September.
It's September.
Holy shit.
It's September, and the Christmas section is larger than the Halloween section. That I don't understand that. But if you look at everything nowadays, mainstream stuff, haunted houses, people decorating their house, Halloween is becoming much more of a big thing nowadays. For example, we used to work at haunted houses. I'm what you could label as a professional scare actor. I've done it for several years now. I started, when I was a junior in high school.
A wee lad.
I was a wee lad in high school, and I just decided to scare some people. It was we had a science Chandler Center next door to the high school, and they're just posting things out, and me and a friend joined, and basically we were Martian mutant zombies for this educational experience. It wasn't really a haunted house, but I got to be a zombie and terrorize a couple kids, and boy, was that fun. After that, I joined a company for a short while here in Arizona called Chambers of Fear's Haunted House. Woo! They're not really doing anything right now, I don't believe, but they used to be the #1 haunted attraction in Arizona. And I worked there till I moved out of state. I think I even came back for a couple days.
Yeah, you came back for 2 nights.
Yeah, I came back for a 2-night special. I got to do my character. When I was there, I played the Jackal mainly. I also played the Chainsaw character, but I was mainly the Jackal from the 13 Ghosts. I relate a lot to crazy people, so it was very easy for me to get in that role. And after that, when I moved to California, I hopped on to Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights at Hollywood. And basically, for Universal, they make the whole big theme park into a scream park. You can't even walk through the front entrance without being hoarded by a bunch of people in masks with chainsaws. Whether they're clowns, like when I first started, which to me, I think it's just more entertaining when they're clowns because you could do whatever the hell you want.
And there's a lot of people who can't do clowns. They cannot be in the same room. They freak out in the vicinity. So anyone who hates clowns, I am very sorry.
Yeah, so we don't care.
Well, it doesn't help that we have 2 clown cosplays. And not only do we do Freddy and Jason, we have Pennywise the Clown from Stephen King's It, Twisty the Clown from
American Horror Story, Freak Show. He does Pennywise, I do Twisty. If you look on our Facebook page, you'll find some of our images. We pretty much posted all the images on there of what we dress up as. We also have other images of us interacting with other people.
They all float down here, Georgie. Still working on the voice.
Yeah.
But
God bless Tim Curry.
No, I love Tim Curry. Jesus.
Anyways, back to what I was saying. Yeah, I've worked at Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights for 4 years. I was first in the backlot tour of The Walking Dead. Then I was in the Insidious house for their first maze, which was maze #1 that year.
Was it the first year they're doing Insidious?
Yeah, first year they're doing Insidious. Oh, nice. They didn't do it after the first movie. They did it in between, right before the second movie started. And they got to incorporate both sequences from the first and second movie. They did it again recently, but I still think the first maze was the best, not just because I was in it, but because...
Toot your own horn there?
I can't help it. We were #1 that year.
Nice.
And they weren't this last time. Wow. Anyways, but I think it's because the whole way it was laid out. This last time it was different. The first one was more coherent of a story.
Right.
Even if you didn't see the movie, it's not like, oh, I don't understand this thing, because you saw the trailers and you got kind of a glimpse of what the movie was going to be like anyways. Plus, it opened up not long after the movie, or Horror Nights opened up not long before the movie did. It was like the second week of Horror Nights then it opened up. Then I was in the American Werewolf in London maze. I was a puppeteer for one of those giant wolves. I was also a character from the movie called Jack. Basically, he was a victim who got killed by the werewolf and is basically following around, haunting his friend who got bitten by a werewolf, and could try to convince him to kill himself to release his soul, because apparently that's the way it worked. How it worked.
It's Hollywood.
It's Hollywood in London. American werewolf.
Hollywood in London.
Yeah. Of course, the werewolf was designed by the great Rick Baker. He's done many great things. You've seen The Wolfman. He's done that. I believe he's done The Grinch, and yeah, he's very famous for that American Werewolf in London. That's his creation. It's his baby. I kind of like that design better than some of the other werewolf costumes, just because I like the aspect of four-legged creature, and it just looks vicious. Even though you could say the movie's a little dated in certain aspects, it's a good movie. It's a horror movie that has comedy that didn't really tend to have comedy, but it just so happens it worked that way.
It's like one of those horror films that actually put some comedy into it, like those, and you're like, "Huh, this is actually funny." Okay, now it's scary.
This is funny and disturbing at the same time. Look at these people, lovely couple right there. They're chatting with you in a movie theater. Well, it just so happens you're sitting in a porn movie theater for some reason, and they're dead. They're dead. They're ghosts. Have you seen American Werewolf in London?
I haven't.
Oh.
I was a sheltered boy until this man got a hold of me. Then he educated me. My uncultured swineliness.
I took a machete and beat him over the head with it. Yeah. The only thing that... It was interesting. For the longest time we knew each other, we didn't know that we were specifically... Like, I was a Friday 13th fan, and he was a Nightmare on Elm Street fan. It wasn't until I say, hey, let's go to Phoenix Comic-Con. I'm going to dress up like Jason. I had this old Freddy makeup thing I did before. Do you want to put that on? It's like, yeah. You go, yeah, I love Freddy. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me?
Didn't tell me anything, man. Holy shit. We could have been doing this a long time ago.
Yeah, we could have been doing this stuff a long time ago. Yeah, we've been... If you've seen our channel or any of the other videos, we'll just goof off in our costumes as much as possible. You love that Freddy mask. You get a little claustrophobic in it, but you love it.
Well, when we first started, you can kind of tell in our pictures from like our first con up till now that we've been working on the makeup for years. So
yeah, and the poses. I think at a certain point it got, especially the way we did the conventions. We'll get there. At the first couple times we did it, we got there. From my house, it was about a 20-30 minute drive.
About half an hour.
And we'd spend all day there, and then we'd come all the way back, and then come back the next day. It was hard, especially when we're doing that intensive of makeup. Go back in our files. We should have some pictures from the years long since past of our Freddy and Jason where it was makeup based very heavily.
Yeah, with our stuff, it was more like a trial and error kind of thing.
Yeah, we got better. I got better with the makeup as we went along. It was especially helpful that Alberto was here with help with the Jason makeup, because a lot of it was head part, and I can't see the back of my head while doing the makeup.
Yeah, we would have to layer it and build it, do the first foundation of liquid latex and building it. Oh, we use like cotton balls, napkins,
scar tissue, that scar wax thing, which when it works, it works. When it doesn't, it's such a pain in the ass. Yeah, we had a couple times where I know the makeup could have been better, just we were in such a rush and we were so tired. We would wake up at 3:30 in the morning, take a shower each, and start putting the makeup on each other.
Take about 6 to 7 hours, maybe 8 in the makeup chair.
Yeah. I think usually I start on me first, just because I usually had the most.
Yeah, you had the most layers, and your head had to dry, because not only did we have to build...
Yeah, I think we switched back and forth. I would go in there, we'd put a lot on there, and then while a large portion was drying that we couldn't really use the blow dryer for because they'll stew it too early and it'll wake up everyone else in the household, we just took turns sitting in the makeup chair and applying to each other. Eventually, it got to the point where, not this last time, but the time before that when we went to Phoenix Comic-Con, where I just couldn't do that much makeup, and we even had a hotel, but I couldn't do all that makeup for just a convention without being exhausted the whole day, and we were both cranky, by the time the end of the day was, and for one of the makeup, part of my eye was blocked out, so
You're pretty much blind.
I was pretty much blind, and I got disoriented because every time I turned my eyes or my head, felt really weird. That, and I was looking through tunnel vision through the hockey mask anyways. We started, I think I started first, invested in getting masks for my Jason outfits. I started with a hood mask based off of Friday 13th Part 3 from Darkside Studios. They're the ones that I got my hood mask from. They're really good. They do a really good job for hood masks. I think I'm going to get my Freddy versus Jason hood mask in there eventually.
They're not sponsoring this video, by the way.
Yeah, they're not no sponsorships here. We're not getting paid for anything, which is but
college students.
We're poor, but this isn't how we make our money. We're just doing this for fun. I started getting the hood mask because I kind of enjoyed having parts of my face that I can move around, and the hood mask, while it sticks to your hair like a son of a gun, it's easy to take on and off, and it just makes wearing the Jason costume so much easier. I don't have to worry about doing anything but putting the costume on, putting the mask on, blocking out my eyes. Depending on which mask I have, I might use pure black, I might use a grayer tone, like for a Freddy vs. Jason look, or like when I do my Part 9 look, I use a combination between black, gray, blue, and red, just kind of mixing it up because that's kind of the color scheme of his head.
And you can move your head too.
Yeah, I can move my head with that thing, even though I sometimes get stiff and my ears could get uncomfortable sometimes. It's still so much better.
But what I've noticed even though you put on the hood mask, you still do the entire body turn kind of thing, like the Kane Hodder Jason turn.
It's one of the reasons why I enjoy dressing up like him for the like Comic-Con experience, because in Comic-Con is a cultural immersive experience where you could pick your favorite character, study up on that character, learn how they walk, learn how they move, and learn through the years of what different poses that we've tried. Because, first doing Jason thing, my arms were sticking out, kind of weird looking. Yeah. Eventually, looked at the pictures, kind of saw where it was easier. I moved my shoulders back in more and made it more menacing and made me look bigger. Mm-hmm. I got the walk down just by watching the movies, practicing. But Comic-Con's such an immersive experience that you could literally show up and be in character. You can't go and kill anyone, but
for legal reasons.
For legal reasons. But you could show up, be Freddy, be Jason, do the laugh, get out the fake machete and do the pose, because they frown upon real machetes.
Yeah. What I've noticed with cosplayers who do a certain type of character is when you look, again, when they first start, they gradually get better with not just how they do make improvements on their cosplay, and they make improvements on the mannerisms, the way they talk, the way they act, and things like that. I've noticed a lot of cosplayers who've worked with, they've shown their pictures when they started. I saw a great cosplayer online. She did a Sephiroth, and she gradually, through I think 5 years, made from point A to point B, and it looks amazing. Another cosplayer I saw, she does a low key, and when she first started, again 5 years later, she looks great. She does her poses great, and with Michael and I, we've been practicing with those. Watching not only just not really ripping off the movies, but kind of ripping off the movies, but putting our own shtick to it.
Yeah, we a lot. It's heavily referenced from the movies. Looks. I have my own basic Jason look when it comes to if I had a specific look outfit for Jason, I've had ever since. God, I don't remember how long ago. It was summer of 2012, I think. Where I did Jason X, non-Uber Jason look, where I had this old jacket. I love that jacket. I did a little film thing, and they didn't tell me that they're not going to give me clothes, I wasn't even getting paid for that thing, but it was a zombie thing, so they ripped up my jacket, my favorite jacket. It didn't fit me, but it was my favorite jacket nonetheless. But my dad was like, "Oh, you got to throw that ratty thing away." I'm like, "Nope, I'm going to keep it." And it was kind of he wears a straitjacket in Jason X at the beginning of the movie and throughout until he gets kind of decimated by the android. But
I knew she was an android. I was having to talk with this with Brittany the other day. We were trying to figure out if she's a cyborg or an android, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure she's an android.
I think technical term is android. Cyborg is part
she
human.
She didn't have her lady parts like Android 18, but we're like, technically she's Cyborg 18. But that's a different story for another time, because I like to go on tangents.
Don't hit the table.
Sorry about that.
Lady parts.
Lady parts.
You're weird.
You know I am.
Anyway. I took that outfit. I had this... I found on... For me, Jason outfits, the best parts of getting Jason outfits is going to somewhere like Goodwill. If you need costumes, especially costumes you're going to tear up, things that you're not going to use or dress up with, it's not going to be anything formal, fancy, and you just need something for like this skit or for Comic-Con, all my outfits minus that jacket came from Goodwill. I got this wonderfully gray shirt. I got this darker gray pants. I don't rip up the pants because it's too much effort to try to put makeup and stuff on legs, because I'm kind of hairy. I got hairy legs, like a moose, so I don't really want liquid latex on my knees because that will pull the hair out, and I don't want to shave my legs either. I'm not a swimmer.
My terrible attempt at whistling.
You disturb me sometimes.
I disturb everyone.
I know, that's what you do.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, I have that specific look. I change it out with different... I wear that the hood mask that I mentioned before from part 3 of Friday the 13th movies. I change out different hockey masks for that. It depends on what I feel. Like I would want to wear with it that day. Sometimes I use that Freddy vs. Jason hockey mask, which I've used a lot. In fact, when it comes to that specific outfit, we even did a video on our friend's channel. I used to live in California, and when I lived there, I had a person who lived in my apartment complex. Ironically, his name was also Michael, and he had this idea of creating a YouTube channel for a little mini series. I believe it was called The Roommates.
Yep.
And it was just about different artsy people living together.
Not sponsoring.
Not sponsoring. We will post a link to his channel specifically to what I'm talking about in the annotations below. But we became pretty good friends. We had some fun interests. We watched people on YouTube. He just came to me one day. It's like, conveniently, Alberto was there too.
Hello.
He just came to me and said, "Hey, hi Mike, I have a question for you." And he basically asked, "I want to do a horror parody for my YouTube channel. Specifically, it's basically the characters are going to be watching this horror movie, and then he's also going to have the whole movie as a separate. So just little clips for the actual web series, and the movie is separate." That movie was called Killmore Villas. We were just talking, and I said, it's like, well, I got this Jason outfit. And it turned into, no script, no preparation. We just kind of made everything on the fly.
And that's how every good movie's made these days. No script.
Exactly. But, yeah, I got to play Jason probably for the first time doing a video thing. Alberto was in there. He was...
Myself.
What kind of yourself? He was basically, Killmore Villas is about this haunted apartment complex. Basically, it's on the old campgrounds of Camp Crystal Lake. And
who
the
knew?
Water of... I know, who knew? Camp Crystal Lake is gone, apparently. And it was in California, not New Jersey, like we're supposed to believe. But basically, all was left of the Camp Crystal Lake water is through this fountain, and this fountain has a power of bringing Jason back for some reason. And he's haunting this apartment complex, and it follows the story of new people trying to enter the complex, and then Jason starts killing them.
It makes you wonder how they pay for the building, If you can't get new tenants in, and Jason's killing everybody?
Maybe he was just in the sauna the whole time, and no one knew about it.
Probably.
Not everyone uses the sauna down there.
That's true. Didn't you say it was broken?
It was for a long while. They fixed it, though, before I left.
Yeah, his apartment complex had a gym in the basement along with
Second
the sauna.
basement.
Second basement. Because there's 2 parking garages. and there was a sauna in there that didn't work. If you do watch the video closely, it kind of ruins the illusion because you can see a Dasani water bottle inside.
You see a Dasani water bottle everywhere in that thing. Not sponsored by Dasani, by the way.
Yeah, we weren't sponsoring them, but we had a lot of Dasani water during that shoot.
Yeah, it was a great fun. I'll talk more about this specific video later on because I think this will probably be included in our Friday the 13th talk.
Yeah.
Just because, boy, we have some stories about that thing. And
yeah.
Eventually, I want to do another one of those Kilmorevilles type of style, like what happens if. Well, you should watch the video first. We'll link the video down below, but yeah, you're gonna want to watch it.
Kilmorevilles has gotten me into the idea of making more videos based off that.
Yeah,
but again, that's for.
It was also our first YouTube video, too.
It was, wasn't it?
I got to play Jason for the first time. We just kind of messed around.
So it's 2012, right?
2012.
Holy
it's been
shit.
4 years.
It's my first year of college, jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, my second year.
I don't know.
It's been too long.
It's just
college does things to you.
He don't even remember how old he is.
I can't remember how old I am.
You're old.
I think I'm 23. I think.
You think?
I think.
By next month you won't be.
Nope. Damn.
You'll be old.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of weird. I was talking to my coworkers the other day when I kind of discussed how we graduated high school 5 years ago. And you just look at the look on their faces like, oh, stop. Like, what? I graduated at 10. I'm like, oh, man, that sucks.
Here's a fun fact. Everyone our age and older remembers, let's say, for an example, 9/11 when the... I'm not going to talk too much into this.
Everyone knows 9/11.
Yeah, everyone knows what happened at 9/11.
It's weird when...
but people... We don't realize to us because it's kind of a thing that's been hovering in the background of, modern day society for a long time.
Fresh in our minds, but then...
But people entering high school who are 15 years old or younger... To us, this was an event that actually happened. This was real. We've seen this happen on TV. I remember it. I didn't even think it was real. I thought my parents were watching a movie. But to people like 15 years or younger, they're going to be reading about this in history books as a historical event, American historical events, because this didn't happen in their lifetime. Can you believe that?
Now I know how old people feel when they talk about, like...
Oh, yeah, I told my dad, and he just wanted to cry. He's like, don't talk to me anymore. I'm going to go into my room and watch old movies.
Like, just stop, because I remember the Korean War. They didn't kill me in Korea. They're not going to kill me now.
My dad always complains about how old he is, so I always make fun of him and make him feel older than he is.
Did you say he lived through, like, what, how many plagues again?
Every single outbreak of the bubonic plague. So he's lived since way before the 1300s. Before that, in my opinion, he's old.
You just give him so much crap for that.
Oh, I do. He did one complaint about it, and that was it. I ruined that for him entirely.
See, what's going to happen is now karma's going to get you, so your kid is going to do the same to you.
Yeah, probably. But then again, I did it to someone else first. As long as I did it first, that's all that matters.
Oh, man. It's also kind of weird when I talk about old movies with people who are a little older than me. Because, like, you know that movie? I'm like, of course I know that movie. Like, why wouldn't I know that movie? Like, well, I thought you kids are into new stuff. I'm like, well, the new stuff kind of sucks.
Yeah.
You know?
Our age, the age of anyone who was born in the 90s, essentially, especially early 90s.
Are we considered millennials?
No, because we weren't born in 2000s.
So we're 90s kids.
We're 90s kids.
90s kids for the win!
Well, I think all of us are 2 or 3 years shy of being 80s kids, essentially.
I'm
so,
92.
92.
92.
And
you're 93, and you're 92, too.
Yeah. This is Brittany. She's not going to talk. She's the one in charge of listening to us, making sure we sound normal. And Alberto needs to stop dropping shit on the table.
Not only do I drop a lot of things on the table, I drop things at home in general. And
yeah.
I'm like, damn it. When I got my first 3DS, first thing I did, I dropped it.
Yep.
When I got my new phone, dropped it. When I got my new controller for the PlayStation 4, dropped it. I just shouldn't have nice things.
Yeah. But anyways.
Everybody's crying in the background.
I was talking to someone, And I was talking about Indiana Jones movies. Specifically, I think I was talking about Raiders because...
That's a good one.
It's Raiders. Raiders of the Lost Ark. But they're like, oh, I didn't see that movie. I'm like, why not? They're like, oh, it's old. I don't want to watch it. I'm like, the hell's wrong with you? Mm-hmm. That's part of your culture, boy. This was part of ours.
My dad gives me an opposite thing. A couple years ago, when I went to go see Kingdom of the Crystal Skull in theaters, he was like, "Oh, awesome!"
We don't talk about that movie.
Yeah, I know. Shia LaBeouf, or is it the alien thing?
Both.
Just both.
I actually think Shia LaBeouf irritated me more than the aliens.
It's okay. Optimus. Anyway, he tells me that he's like, "Oh man, I saw that movie when I was like your age," or it's like. Oh man, I went to go see Star Wars a couple last year.
Yeah,
he was like, "Oh man, I remember seeing Star Wars in theaters," and it's kind of cool how movies like that still stick with the culture. You know,
pure '90s kids. It's the reason why everything's coming back now. This is the reason why you're having a Star Wars movie return. This is the reason why they're going to do another Indiana Jones movie eventually.
Rogue One
for the Power Rangers. Our years, the year of the 90s, the people who are now, coming up in the world, going out into business and stuff like that.
Getting married, having kids.
Yeah, getting married, having kids. We are the generation of nostalgia. Basically, anything that's coming out now that's important is what either we read in comic books when we were younger or we've seen that's a continuation. Which is good because kind of getting a little tired of remake stuff.
Uh-huh.
That was a big thing in early millennials.
Everything got a remake.
Yeah, some shouldn't have, but well, that's another discussion.
Yep, we're gonna do a list of movies that should never have been remade and movies I think should not be remade.
This specific podcast is going to be a little bit of a jumble of our different thoughts because we're just trying to, let you get to know us and what we think.
And then when we're done, we're gonna be like, "Damn it, I forgot to say that."
Yeah, but that's why we're going to do more. Other podcasts are generally going to be trying to be a little bit more organized when we're talking about one specific thing, and maybe a few other things. But knowing us, we'll derail it somewhere along the lines,
like we are now.
Yeah. Anyways, back what I was saying. When I was young, I didn't really grow up on cartoons of the, that age. I remember Batman. When I was older, I remember Vader Zim. Hey, y'all remember Kim Possible? That was the last great Disney animated, movie. Or not movie, but it was a movie too, but series.
Well, it had two
and
movies.
After that, everything, they stopped. They stopped doing animated stuff that really drew people's attention. And look at now, they're going to do a Tangled anime series. I just found that out.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
This is, as I said before, we're jumbling everything up. We go from horror movies to Disney Channel. But
well, if you want to talk about the original DCOM movies like Halloween Town, those are pretty good.
Yeah, those we'll talk in another discussion. But I was not just raised on that. I was heavily raised on older series like Dinosaurs. You remember Dinosaurs?
Oh, man.
I
remember Dinosaurs. The weird thing is, when you go back to watch it now and you go back to read on it, it's like, this show wasn't even meant for kids.
Oh, no. There's so many dirty jokes in there that you don't even realize it when you're watching it.
So many adult references, and you're still going to watch it because, you're a kid and you see, characters and, these big, funny costumes.
But, friend, it's Thursday night.
Oh, man. But, yeah, you don't really process it until you rewatch this as an adult, and you're like, oh, shit.
Oh, yeah. In the 80s shows and 90s shows, they really put things in there just to kind of say, hey. For fun fact, the Animaniacs, if you watch the series, when you're a kid, you'll notice they say, "Good night, everybody," and you're like, what? It's not the end of the episode. It's just, maybe that's just their shtick or something like that. No, usually they say that after a really dirty joke or something that's wrong on so many levels, and they say good night, everyone, because the animators and the creators honestly thought that, okay, this is the one that's going to get us off the air. This is it. Nope, no one knows it.
Oh, then, okay, that makes more sense. I thought they're in the 90s when comedians would do it online.
Well,
on stage, yeah, they would do their last joke and be like, good night, everyone.
When they had Beethoven there, and there was so he's a pianist. And he's like, I'm a pianist. You're a what? I'm a pianist. Good night, everybody.
Oh man, holy shit!
Penis.
Like I said, like you don't get these as a kid, but when you rewatch it, you're like, oh my god, they got away with that.
Yep, they did a thing.
It just reminds me of like how many shows got away with getting past the censors.
Yeah.
A great example was like Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Oh my god, that show is wonderfully disturbing.
It was fucked up, man. Like anyone who watched Courage the Cowardly Dog as a kid can relate to getting almost scarred from that.
Yeah,
I think the episode it did for me was like, I think everyone knows this one.
Return the slab or suffer my curse.
Dude, that one just kept me up at night. I'm like, oh shit.
What's your offer?
What was another one that was kind of weird?
The hamster one. Gerbil World.
That was a little weird.
That was
me.
weird.
It didn't keep me up at night, but that one was a little weird. Like it's the Gerbil's world. Yeah, that one, dude.
It's the Gerbil's world. That one had a very epic climax with almost operatic, soothing music with a dramatic water chase sequence with ski boats.
I had two favorite episodes of that series. The episode where he befriends a hunchback.
You, sir, are incredibly bold.
Yeah, pretty much. I loved that episode. I think the next episode I loved was the friendship that Bunny and Kitty had. A little nod to
you dogs are all the same.
The dogs are all the same.
When you're a kid, you don't well, I realized it when I first saw them. I'm like, hey, there's something different about this friendship.
They're a little friendly.
One of these things is not like the other.
And I put it together. I'm like a cat, and I'm like, oh, okay. Good night, everyone.
Yep. If you haven't seen it,
it's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. You wouldn't understand it till you see it. And if you're a kid listening to the show, what's wrong with you?
Go watch it. They're not sponsoring this video, by the way.
We're nothing sponsored, as we said before.
We're poor.
Yeah,
we're too poor to get sponsored.
We're too poor. We have our own means of finances, but that gets us as far as going to Comic-Con, making costumes.
And believe me, our jobs are not the best.
We're not going to say what we do, but, you know. People. Anyways, back to what we grew up on.
We love you, people.
Should we say this for another podcast? So just what we grew up on?
You know, I think we can get like really lost in that one.
Yeah, let's end this here for this conversation. Just because I want to, we could spend a long time. We'll include things like Hocus Pocus.
We'll do stuff like Invader Zim and stuff.
Invader Zim, especially. That will be. We'll have a nostalgia episode. We've spent a lot of time just kind of rambling on. If you haven't heard before, because we probably didn't even say, my name's Michael. You call me Mike. I don't really care whichever one. People call me both. This is Alberto.
Call me Al, but just don't call me Shirley. I had to make that reference. Everyone at my work makes that reference. I'm like, I never.
Why do they make that reference?
They're all old, like I said, but they're like born in the '80s and stuff like that.
That's old.
Old to me, because I make them feel old.
True. That does help too. It's like my dad. Yep. He was born way before the 80s. I'm just saying. Anyways, we're probably going to end this first one here. Please give us a comment below. Tell us what your favorite horror film, your favorite scary movie. Just any advice you could give when it comes to what we could talk about.
And before we end this, did you want to list off your favorite horror?
No, that will be for later.
That?
Save that for later.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, we'll do that for next several videos.
Yeah.
But like us down below, give us a comment. Please subscribe to our channel. We'd really appreciate it. We're doing this for strictly fun. Nothing too intense about this.
We love you, people.
And if you hear any strange noises in the background, it's my humongous lab.
Hell.
And he's adjusting himself on the couch every 10 minutes, so you might hear some huff, some shuffle in the background.
If you might have heard a snarl earlier on, that was him too.
Or Alberto.
Or me.
Mm-hmm.
You never know what I might do. All right. Anyway, guys, again, we are Camp Hack and Slash.
Yep. And this is, thanks for joining us with Chit and Chat with Hack and Slash. Our very first podcast. Number 1. It's over. Can you believe that?
Not really.
Not really?
Not really. I think
It's just begun.
It just, I think, it just started for us, and then we just kept going and going.
Yeah. Well, what will feel different for you guys is that to you, it'll be spread out. To us, it might be a little closer. We might do a few of these, like one after the other, recording-wise, just because Alberto here's a dingus, and he lives in Nothing to Do song.
Well, there's Old Tucson coming up.
Yeah, but that's
Nightfall at Old Tucson.
Nightfall at Old Tucson. Yeah. I think next time we should talk about our top favorite horror films, and we might list off like our favorite top 3 favorite Friday the 13th movies. The movie suggestion of today. What's a good suggestion of today for our first podcast? Hack and slash. I think I would want to say the original Tobe Hooper's Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That's a good one.
Most people, when they think of that movie, they're like, oh, blood, guts, gore, it's horrifying, it's all messed up. They use very little blood in that movie compared to some of the other things like Friday the 13th. As soon as you got to like part 3, part 4, it's let the blood flow. Mm-hmm. Or like the first Nightmare on Elm Street with Johnny Depp's death, the blood is literally pouring to the ceiling.
Yep.
But Texas Chainsaw Massacre is so gritty, and it does such a good job of making this setting feel kind of real, and you feel the real threat when it comes to it. The movie's a little dated if you watch it nowadays, especially anyone who's a youngin' watching this movie. Not especially if you don't really care much for horror movies, but I think that would be a good suggestion because literally our logo is a guy wearing a skin for a mask, someone's face for a mask, which will change here and there, but that's our current logo at the time. Anything else you want to add on before we end this, Alberto?
Next couple weeks or so, I'll be uploading a video about our experience at the slaughterhouse. Mm-hmm. Like, I live in Tucson, and we do have this haunted house. Not sponsoring, by the way. Yep. We're poor. Mm-hmm. But, when Michael came to visit me, I really wasn't too apt about going, but...
Which is such a disappointment for him being a scare actor as well.
I know. But he did take me, and I had a great time. For copyright reasons, of course, we couldn't record what was actually inside the actual haunted house, and we kind of respect that.
Yeah, we'll have a conversation about our experiences in haunted houses and what you should do and should not do if you go into a haunted house, whether you're a performer or a guest, because there's limitations for both sides.
And anybody who knows who's worked in a haunted house will relate to this.
Yeah, it's a very important subject to us.
But anyway, it's going to be a very it is dark. It's a dark video only because I could only record darkness. Maybe some scenes that was outside, but that'll be coming up in the next couple weeks. I'll have other videos coming up about just fixing up my Freddy glove. I will give more details on that. And, I think that's pretty much it, man.
This channel is going to be a lot of things. We're going to be doing podcasts like this. We're going to be doing skit videos, which are a bunch of fun to us. Maybe tutorials, but mainly, discussing about what things we're doing. Or like, let's say we're going to a convention, and we'll talk a little about how we prep it, how we prepare for it, which is usually pretty badly because we never have enough water.
Well, I think for anybody who's going to go to a con, and I know a lot of con goers will relate, it's like, get everything ready here, make sure you have this, but then it goes to hell at the end.
Which is going to be another video. Or another podcast. Mm-hmm. Anyways, we're going to end this here. Thank you very much for joining with us. Like I said, like, favorite, subscribe, and give us a comment below. We'll also, as I said before, we'll feature a link of that Kilmore Villas video that we did. Mm-hmm. We're really proud of that, considering that we took a couple hours filming that. No prep, no real preparation, and a shit ton of Wilhelms in there. Wilhelm screams, to be specific. If you don't know what that is, you're too young to listen to us.
Oh!
We'll insert a Wilhelm here. Okay, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll talk to you next time. See ya!
Bye!